So I am here for a segment of I Have Opinion. I know it's been a little while since I've done it, but I had to talk about part one of the Selena series. I literally just finished watching it last night. Wasn't at all excited about it, I'll be honest, because if you know me personally, or even if you have watched my video blogs from before, you see that I am a very big Selena fan, I love me La Reina. I love me her. Love her, love her. So, you know, I was one of those people who I've seen the biopic with Jennifer Lopez. I absolutely positively love that movie. I feel like J Lo is unmatched. J Lo, like the Selena movie, is what catapulted J Lo's career. So when I heard that they were doing a series, I was like, well, you know what for? The movie pretty much told us everything that we needed to know, and whatever we didn't know, we found out throughout the years or whatever. If you're a fan and you've been following her since the beginning, then you pretty much know, what happened to her. You pretty much know her history or whatever. But apparently from watching the series, there are some things that we may not have known or whatever, or some things that we may have forgotten or whatever. So that's what the series covered. So we could just get right into it. So the first part of the series is pretty much talking about from her childhood to when she was a teenager. So it's about her life from when she was about, I would say, six, from when she was six till about 20, 20, I believe, 1920 somewhere. So it doesn't go in like it doesn't go in order, like they jump from years or whatever. But it's pretty much how they it pretty much starts with when they were a band as kids and whatnot. But what I did notice with the series versus the movie is that the series is pretty much covering not just Selena, but it's focusing on like Suzette and like what's like Suzette went through, AB, and the pressure of him being a songwriter for Selena, and Abraham and their financial strife, which we knew about. Like the movie covered that they went through financial problems, like when Abraham opened Papagayos, and they all of a sudden lost, like the business went under or whatever. But in the series, it kind of like covers more of like they were actually going through like a recession and stuff like that, like. And they weren't making that much money for Papagayo, so he had to like sell the business and move the kids in with Uncle Hector. They made mention of it, like Uncle Hector in the movie, but in the series, they actually showed that Abraham, Marcella, Selena, Suzette, and AB all stayed in one room. Like the kids slept on the floor, and Abraham and Marcella slept in a bed, and that's how they slept until their band started picking up some fan base or whatever. And the series also covered versus the movie that Selena y los Dinos was actually called Southern Pearl before they were called Selena y los Dinos. Now, the movie didn't cover that. We didn't know that, but they discussed that, and then they pretty much it discussed that it was put out there that Selena wanted to be more of a fashion designer than she did a singer. But because her dad was a singer, so it was pretty much her, I don't want to say following his dream, because her singing, she did like to sing. Like it's not like she didn't want to be a singer, but she was more into fashion. So that's pretty much how they got their start or whatever. Abraham and AB handled the music, like the equipment and stuff. Like they made they made lights out of peach cans and light bulbs, which blew my mind. And I'm like, that's really dope. And they were doing small gigs and stuff with weddings and such. So, this whole time I'm gonna be talking about the movie versus the series, because a lot of people know the movie, and a lot of us are familiar with Jennifer Lopez or whatever, and what she did or whatever. But the series versus the movie, it pretty much, because the movie kind of like glossed over a lot of stuff. Like the movie went from Selena being a child for a little while, and then it focused more on when she got bigger and mainstream and stuff like that. It didn't really talk about her winning awards or whatever. Like we knew that she won awards, but it didn't really talk about her winning awards. And then at one point, she was like in a category with Laura Canales, and nobody knew that her and Laura Canales had an actual conversation in the bathroom. Stuff like that. So that's like what the series is covering, whereas the movie just kind of like glossed over it. But still, the movie was good. I'm not taking credit away from the movie nor the series or whatever, but both of them were good for different reasons. So like my whole opinion on like having the series is I understand now why they put the series out or whatever. Like I feel like the series is like a reintroduction for like the younger generation to Selena, and it's also like, um to like honor her legacy for us who are fans, and for us to remember who she was when she was alive, and all the hard work that she did when she was alive, when she was living. So yeah, but yeah, the movie pretty much focused on like how they got things done as a family. Like Marcella was pretty much just she was the logic, she was the backbone of the family. Like she cooked, she cleaned, she offered valuable advice or whatever. Suzette and Selena, like they were thick as thieves, and Suzette was always there to like, for Selena to lean on, and AB was the one that was writing the songs and coming up with the music and everything with his dad. And then they got Ricky to join, Pete and Joe and all of these people to come and play the guitar and sing with her and whatnot. And that kind of made like, Ilos Dinos, it made them like bigger. And then again, the movie glossed over like, how they started from performing in a van where they had like a tractor trailer attached to the van that held all the equipment, and then they eventually went to Big Bertha, the bus, because they had an incident where the tractor trailer like it was not attached to the van, so it like was riding down the road by itself, and they had to kind of like crash it in order to stop it. So that's what made them get Big Bertha. And even then, when they got Big Bertha, because in the series, when they were in Big Bertha, they had no heat, no air, they had no seats, no nothing. Everybody was like sitting on the floor, laying on the floor in pallets and stuff. In the movie, again, they gloss over that. Like we see them, they have Big Bertha, and Big Bertha is like it's like a big bus or whatever. But we just see like how Big Bertha was at first. We didn't see them in pallets, but they still like they had places to sit or whatever. And then Big Bertha was switched to it was remodeled, and that's when they added like the beds and all of that other stuff, the booths and all of that. So but for a while they were in Big Bertha and they had no heat or whatever. It was cold sometimes, and like that's pretty much where they had to live because they I think they almost lost their house. And then, when she got like the deal and stuff with they were waiting for a deal with I think CBS. CBS. They were waiting for a CBS deal. That fell through. But when they were at the Tejano Music Awards, Jose Behar stopped Selena and gave him the card or whatever, and that's when they got signed to EMI. So as soon as they got signed to EMI, that's when the careers took off, and then they got the bus remodeled, and now they have, the bunk beds on the bus, the booths and all of that. So they're touring and whatnot, and that's when they Abraham, he bought the house that he originally had. He bought that back plus the two houses that were next door because AB, and that's another thing the movie didn't even mention, that AB got married and had a daughter and a son and all of that. We didn't know that. Again, the Selena movie was mainly focused on Selena. It didn't focus too much on her family. So the series is focused on everybody. Yes, it's about Selena, but it is also about her parents, her brother, her sister, her friends. So it's talking about everybody's backstory, which I think is pretty dope. And so Abraham got the houses. So this now they own three houses now because they making money, and Dame un beso and Ven conmigo and Enamorada de ti, and all of these songs are like charting and blowing up or whatever. So Selena is, she making money because now she's getting a fan base. Like her fan base is getting bigger and her name is getting out there. But Selena, because she's Mexican American and she's Tex Mexican, she knows about Madonna. She knows about Janet Jackson. Like she's inspired by Madonna. She's inspired by Janet Jackson. She's inspired by Jodie Watley. So that's the songs that she wants to sing. She wants to do an English crossover album, but they're pretty much telling her you have to, relax, and you have to perform Tejano music for right now because you know Mexicans, they like to dance. Like, a lot of them aren't too familiar with the pop culture. And Selena was pop. Like, she liked pop. But because she's also Mexican, she has to pretty much win over that fan base first. Like that's where they wanted her to start. And she was like really, really eager to go straight to pop. But her dad is like, listen, you have to pace yourself and you have to make, like, right now, stick to Tejano music because that's what's blowing us up right now. And then when you get like internationally known and people know who you are, then we can move on to English, English and pop and all of that. So um her and her dad pretty much made a bet, like, if I win, I think if she was to win like a Tejano Music Award or some award or whatever, that she could do a Jodie Watley song. So she won, of course, and when they were performing, she had on like the silver suit. They were performing, she went to perform Looking for a New Love by Jodie Watley, and when she was performing that, everybody in the audience was like, like it was crickets or whatever. So, Suzette kind of gave her like an eye gesture, like a wink or whatever, and they switched it to a Tejano song. I forgot what song it was, but you know, Selena thought back, they all thought back to when they were children, and they were taught that if you're not grabbing the audience within the first few minutes or whatever, switch the song like that. So it actually came in, it helped because as soon as she did that, that's when all of them started dancing and everybody was like clapping and everything. So um I'm trying to think of what else because I mean I just really want to get into, like, first of all, love the costumes because they showed Selena and her mom and Suzette and all of them making her boots. Like she made her boots. She had red boots and she made them into like silver glitter boots, and she made every outfit that they wore. She made her Tejano Music Award outfit. She made every outfit that they wore. She made. Selena made every outfit, and that's what made her like such an icon because a lot of celebrities, they have stylists. Like they have stylists, they have their own glam squad. Selena was doing her own makeup. She was doing her own hair. Her and Suzette was like experimenting with her hair, and she was making her own outfits. So that's major because like I said, a lot of celebrities have stylists. Selena was just a regular girl from Texas who, she knew how to sew. Her mom and everybody, they knew how to sew. She got like a bedazzler at the store and was bedazzling jackets and stuff, and like she was doing the thing. She was saying that her dream is to have her own boutique and have, she's like, why should you don't have to be a celebrity to look like you stepped out of a magazine. Like, why can't everyone wear my clothes? Like, you don't have to be a celebrity to look this fabulous. And that's the truth. So I do like that the movie did, focus on that. Like, not only was she a singer, but she was very fashionable. Like Selena could dress her ass off, okay? Every single outfit that child wore, okay? Beautiful. And I'm a person that likes sparkle. I love me some sparkle. So a lot of the outfits that she wore was hella dope. So, again, the movie is just focusing on like her early years, her teenage years, whatever, whatever. And what else do they talk about? They pretty much discuss that she on one of her album covers, she didn't even like her makeup and her hair or whatever. But they still did it, and then she's still battling back and forth with EMI about her English crossover album, but her song went gold, and some, and like, one of them ended up on the Billboard Latin chart or something like that. So, it's little stuff, and people, when she finally was getting a stylist, they didn't know how to style her. And Selena bought the jacket that she bedazzled and that she made herself, and they were like, "No, that's not," But Selena is like, "Well, I know me. This is what I like to wear, and this is what makes me me." So they were pretty much trying to put her in a box, and she wasn't allowing that to happen. Like, no matter how big of a star that she is. And then also when they had like a concert or whatever, these guys got into a brawl, and I think one of them tried like to grab her or something, and she punched him in the face. So when she did that, her hand was swollen. So Abraham was like worried, like he's like, no, now we got to get security because I don't need anything happening to my family while we're on the road or whatever. And Selena was like, well, I don't really care to have security. I don't really like to be away from the fans. Like, I love my fans. I don't want to be away from my fans. But Abraham was really, really, really like, concerned for her security, which he should be. He's a father, and this is a family act. This is his family, so he has to protect them at all costs. So they eventually hired. Let me stop moving this table with my leg. They eventually hired, I think, like a family member as security, and Selena's like, "Well, why is he here?" And he's like, "It's just for your protection, just to make sure you're okay." So Selena didn't really feel right about that, but Abraham and Marcella were worried about her safety, which is fine. Like, Selena didn't see herself as a celebrity. She saw herself as a regular person who was, doing what she loved. Like, she didn't see herself as a singer. She just saw herself as like a relatable person. She didn't see herself as a celebrity. So, I'm pretty sure she thought hiring security was a bit much. But yeah, they also talked about Selena's relationship with Chris and how it started, and everybody was fearing that if she got with Chris or whatever, that it would ruin everything. And pretty much um it was like highlighted that pretty much her and Chris, it was love at first sight. Like, they saw each other or whatever, and he introduced himself and whatnot, and he was the new guitarist in the band. So he's with the band, and him and Selena start hanging out or whatever, and they're catching feelings for each other because Selena, I think she only had like maybe one other person she had a crush on or whatever before she met Chris, but she really couldn't act on that because Abraham was a control freak. Like, the girls couldn't do anything. Like, they could barely date or whatever. It's different because I'm like, AB was able to get married and get a whole girl pregnant or whatever. Like, like he got married. Like, I know that AB met the girl, and then next thing I know, they married and they having a baby, and I'm like, oh, okay. But Abraham was harder on the girls, and that's how fathers were at that time. Like, they were really, really overprotective of their daughters. Not to say that they weren't overprotective. Blah blah blah. Not to say that they weren't overprotective of their sons, but they gave their sons like a little bit of leniency. But when it came to their daughters, it was just like, no dating, no boys, no this, no that. So, that's how fathers were in that time. But yeah, like, so, Selena and Chris, and their relationship is budding and whatnot, and then they're like afraid of people finding out. So like they start sneaking around or whatever and with each other. But Suzette caught on. I think AB caught on, or she told AB or whatever, and then Suzette felt away because when Suzette asked her if anything was going on, she told Suzette no. But then after the concert, when she had punched the guy in the face that grabbed her, Suzette was like, "You told me there was nothing going on with you and Chris," and da 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 da. She was like, "It wasn't, but I love him. I can't help that." And Suzette felt the way or whatever. So, like, fast forward, Abraham finds out about Selena and Chris because they were in the back room talking, and then they started kissing or whatever. And when they kissed, the door opened. So Abraham flew off the handle and pretty much fired Chris or whatever. So, but in the midst of that, they were saying that, pretty much Selena is she has a lot of fans or whatever, and there's nobody to run her fan club. So they got in touch with Yolanda. Dun dun dun. They got in touch with Yolanda to run Selena's fan club or whatever, and Suzette is asking her all kinds of questions. And Yolanda's like, listen, I could run Selena's fan club on my free time. It's not a problem. All of this stuff or whatever. So, I guess they eventually hired Yolanda to run the fan club. But yeah, the series pretty much, the part one pretty much ended with them leaving Chris wherever they were. And Selena is like heartbroken because she's like, you don't know him like I know him. I love him, and blah, blah, blah. So, it pretty much ended there. So, my assumption is that, part two is going to continue off and go into young adult years or whatever, because that would only be like a 3 year window because unfortunately Selena passes away at 23. So I mean, overall the series was okay. It was a little draggy. The series was okay. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it off of the strength that it's Selena, of course, and I really wanted to see how well the actors did. They did fine. They were good. Like they could act. They were really good actors. The main thing that irritated the hell out of me were the wigs. The wigs irritated the hell out of me. Like, y'all could have got some better quality wigs for Selena, especially her 80s hair. Like, I feel like the hair that she had in the 80s is that's the easiest type of hairstyle you can do. And the way they had this girl looking on the show, I was annoyed. Like, okay, we all know, if you're a Selena fan, you know that she explored, like, she was she expressed herself with her hair as a teen. Like, I remember I had got the 10th anniversary, was it a book? It was something that I had got as a child, and with it, I think it was either a book or a tape about Selena. I can't remember. But with it, it came like this little card that was a picture of Selena when she was 14 and she had a short haircut. And then it was on the back of the picture, it was a picture of Selena with, Selena y los Dinos. And then Selena had like the little short bob cut flip to the side, the little 80s hairstyle. The wigs that they put on this girl, I did not like. I didn't like I didn't like Marcella's wigs either, because I know Marcella cut her hair short at some point, but like they look very synthetic, they look very cheap, and I'm like, come on, y'all could have did better with these wigs. Like, the wigs in the movie was better. Like, Constance Marie dressed as Marcella in the Selena movie, like, her short hair was nice. Like, it looked like it was hers. And I really just didn't like. I didn't like the short. I didn't like the short wig they had for her. I didn't like none of the short wigs. I didn't even like. I don't like none of the wigs they have for her. Now that I think about it, I don't. I didn't like. I didn't like none of them. I did not like none of them. I didn't like when she cut her hair short. I didn't even like when her hair grew and she had it down, because you could tell, like, right here, like, you could tell it was a wig. It wasn't until like around the time that she what did she perform? I think La Catacha, or like one of them songs when she had on the cowhide outfit and she had like the ponytail, because I think that was her actual hair. So it didn't look fake or anything, but I did not like the wigs at all. They could have got better wigs. And like, come on, it's 2020. There's so many places that have like lace. You could have did like a good lace front and cut it or whatever, but I don't know who's to say what the budget was for this movie. I just feel like they could have got my girl some better quality wigs. They really could have, because the I was disappointed in the wigs. I really was. I was irritated with the wigs. Like, I don't think us as fans had a problem with, oh, like, oh, this is not, Selena did not look like this in the 80s. No. If you are a fan of Selena, you know this is how she looked in the 80s. how Selena looked in the 80s versus how they had her looking in the movie, she looked very like bootleg. Like the outfits were on point. Don't get me wrong, the outfits were very much so on point. But the hair was just cheap. It was cheap quality. And I was disappointed. I was very disappointed. I mean, but besides that, the movie was really good. The wigs just disturbed me. The wigs disturbed me so much. But I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that felt that way. But I mean, the series was good. It was good. It was I felt like it was pointless. I'm in the middle. I feel like the series was pointless, but at the same time, I feel like it's not pointless because I kind of see what they're trying to do with it. Like, I see that they're not just, yeah, it's about Selena, but it's about everybody, because we didn't really get that in the movie. In the movie, it was just about Selena. Like you got to know a little bit about her family, but it was mostly about her. But in the series, it's like touching everything. Like, yeah, we had Big Bertha, but this is what happened. This is what had to happen to get Big Bertha, and this is what So I get what the series is trying to do, or whatever. And I would say like if I had to rate it, like let's say with 5 stars, I would give it like a good 4.5 stars. I would give the series a 4.5 star because I did enjoy it. I did. I watched it Friday night into no, I watched it Saturday night into Sunday. Into well, no, I watched it Friday into Saturday. Yeah, I watched it Friday night into Saturday, and I finished the last episode last night, so I was just too tired to do the video then. But yeah, it was. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, honestly. But if you watch the series, you let me know how you feel about it. If you're a fan or whatever, even if you aren't a fan and you just watched it for your entertainment, let me know in the comments below how you felt about it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully, I don't know when they're gonna do part two. I haven't heard any word about it, but yeah, we'll find out. Netflix will announce it, but I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend about T-shirt on the tube. This was I Have Opinions. Be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.